Hello, my name is Michael Reeves, student number S10151, and I'm going to do an analysis presentation on U2 and their album The Joshua Tree. The purpose of this and the focus of it is to see what U2 achieved in this album that is different from the rest of their albums. I really think they were going for a totally different sound. The Streets Have No Name, it has just a vibrant, ambient, spacious sound that you see that a lot, but they've really put in new elements and new creativity to make it sound more ambient in this. And the Edge really used more delay and reverb on his stuff to really fill in the gaps, and he used more synths than pianos than on the rest of his albums. The musical elements and techniques they've used, they really experimented with layering different instruments and different effects into creating a better foundation for a lot of their songs. A lot of synths and a lot of pads to kind of fill in the gaps where maybe his guitar, because there's only one of them, and the bass, because the bass really isn't that strong on this album for some reason, but the synths and the pads really fill in where the bass and the guitar and the drums don't really add anything to. I think they really branched out on this one and used a bunch of just effects that you see coming up in kind of the mainstream stuff, but their sound is more of an experimental sound, so it was really cool to see them put those different characteristics into their music. And then technology they use, like I said, they use a lot more pads and stuff. I'm really gonna explain the Edge. So I read on this site, it was all about the Edge's gear and stuff, and he really used a lot of different effects on this album. Before it was just like the dotted eighth, delay, and a little bit of reverb, but on this one he bought line 6, kind of a tower operator system, and what he did, it kind of just mimicked a bunch of different effects, and he would use those but layer them on top of his other effects to make some kind of weird sounds and really spacious sounds. And I read that he has over like 43 different guitars, and he used about 20 of them to make the album. So it's just an idea of the different sounds that he got came from more than, I guess, a dozen guitars, and just shows the creativity of him and how he got most of the different sounds and stuff, as well as amps. And just he had some people make him a guitar with certain pickups to have more sustain so that he could get some of the sounds out that he needed to. And a lot of effort went into making this album as far as the instruments go and technology goes. The drums, I read somewhere that they mic'd them a little bit different, and they used a little bit different reverb on it to give them a different sound for this album. And yeah, that's the technology. The character of this album, like I said before, is kind of more, it's more mainstream, but at the same time it's more experimental with like the ambient kind of pads and the ambient guitar and vocals and almost ambient drums and bass by putting reverb on it. I believe the character of this album is kind of to reach out and do something they haven't done before, and just to get people's attention by doing something different instead of doing something that people have done before and making it better. They just tried to create their own kind of sound on this one, which I really believe was awesome and a good step for them, and they do a really good job of it. And the style they're going for is, they're, I guess, a rock band, but they have a lot of pop influence and a lot of mainstream sounds going for them, which is a good mix. They mix rock and pop and experimental really well, and it kind of gives them their own unique character, their own unique sound about this, and it really came out in this album. The character of this album really reflected on the character of the people and of the band. I read on an article that a bunch of different people were just kind of saying how this U2 and their albums have really affected the way they've written music, and U2 really opened up a whole new way of recording and a whole new way of, I guess, hearing different styles of music and incorporating different styles into your playing and into your recording, and just really experimenting and reaching out. Really opened up a lot of different artists, and it made them more comfortable to kind of reach out and do something that no one's ever done before, because U2 was so successful in doing that. And they've really influenced the world. You can see them all the way from like iPod commercials. They actually have their own iPod cover and their own iPod with them on it. And they've really been kind of a marketing place for Apple. When they came out with their iPod, they really pushed U2, and I guess because they knew a lot of people like U2, so it would make them want their products. But you can see it all the way from advertisement for products all the way into the music career and business, where people know who The Edge is, who U2 is, who Bono is, and they try to get the same sounds as U2 because I guess they just have that much of an influence on them and influence on the music world of today. The key influences of the band would be Bono and The Edge. Bono really brings a lot out of the vocals of the bands. The Edge does backup vocal, but Bono just has that unique voice about him, the unique, just the way he sings and the emotions he brings into singing just captures everybody's attention. And The Edge, with his guitar playing, with his creativity, really brings different sides of the band out. From just the bassist or the drummer, The Edge can really elaborate on his playing and really bring out different styles and different sides of his own characteristic and his characteristic of playing. Whenever he uses his different effects, it really brings out his voice. I saw a documentary on him that he was saying that he drives everyone crazy because he tries to get this sound that he has in his head for hours and hours, and he's not happy until he gets the perfect sound, which I think is a really great characteristic of him that really influences his band to go past what you'd normally go to get to perfection, and would go past what you'd normally go to get the right and the perfect sound for the band and what the band's going for. And I really think that this band, they just came out with a new CD actually, so I guess they're still going, and they've been a real key influence. I know they've gotten their influence from a bunch of key bands like Led Zeppelin and old bands like that, just that were a little bit before them. And yeah, so that's the Joshua Tree album by U2, and thank you for watching.